Hey guys, it's Myndrr, and I have a question for you. Is it possible for console slop FPSs to be good? Because I think theoretically it is. I mean, I enjoyed Halo 3 back in the day, so whenever there's a new Battlefield game, I like to check out the beta and see if there's anything redeemable for PC players. Worst case scenario is you farm some casuals and cause DICE to get less pre-orders, which is always a good thing. And after playing Battlefield 6 for a few days, it kind of does feel like they tried to improve the PC experience. The gunplay is surprisingly non-console-y in some ways. For example, hipfire is actually pretty accurate in this game. I found it especially useful on the shotgun, which seems to have better hipfiring than other guns. And this allows for an almost PC FPS kind of playstyle, where you run around and abuse your mobility and your higher FOV by hipfiring, and you try to avoid the crosshairs of the more static console players who tend to lock down sightlines with the game's aim assist. And speaking of that, the aim assist in Battlefield 6 is extremely strong, like in essentially all modern console FPS, strong enough that even the best mouse and keyboard aimers won't be able to compete on that basis. Playing in hipfire with more twitchy, reaction-based weapons like shotguns is kind of your only advantage as a mouse and keyboard player. But I have the creeping suspicion that this playstyle will end up getting nerfed. Not particularly because it's the best, but because of a phenomenon that I call single-shot racism. For whatever reason, gamers really hate dying to single-shot weapons. And it's not even limited to one-hits. Weapons with a slower firing cadence than ARs generally tend to get nerfed into the ground in console FPSs. And I've never really understood it because in low time to kill games, ARs do so much damage and the server tick rate is so low that it kind of feels like you die instantly to ARs. It's as if the 4 shots that it takes for an AR to kill you gets combined into 1 by the 20 tick servers. So, what's the difference? It feels almost like a single shot weapon in practice. But single-shot racism persists. Anyway, at the end of the day, despite some qualities that makes it more appealing on PC, Battlefield 6 is still selling itself primarily as a console FPS. Controllers receive a developer-sanctioned aimbot, and crossplay settings only go in one direction. And that is to say, console players can turn off crossplay, but PC players can't. So if you dislike the feeling of being accidentally killed by aim assist enjoyers, you have no recourse. And aside from the usual console FPS problems, Battlefield squad mechanics also make it feel attrition-y and kind of overly team-based in an unsatisfying way. Like for example, let's say you're the last player on a point. In a game with a regular spawn system, you can test yourself against the attackers, and if you defeat a few of them, you win the fight. In Battlefield, you might kill 10 players, each one of them chipping your health away with the easy-to-land aim assist damage, and at the end of it, there are still enemies spawning off of their teammates or respawn beacons in the area, so death is kind of inevitable. It's a game where numbers receive a kind of artificial advantage due to the spawn system. Playing Battlefield 6 often leaves you with this feeling of like, wow, I played really well there and I still lost the point. Which is never a good feeling in a video game, when the result feels unresponsive to how well you're playing. And I think this contributes to what people call the mindless feeling of Battlefield 6. Because when a game feels overly chaotic and irrational, players start to get into loops of respawning and running towards the nearest enemies without any thoughtful objective in mind. Because when entire squads can materialize from thin air right behind you, it makes long-term planning feel kind of pointless. So anyway, to the original question of the video, is Battlefield 6 a good PC FPS? I would say it's okay, only because other offerings are so weak. Definitely not $80 okay, probably more like $20 okay, if I was being generous. So anyway, if hipfire mechanics get nerfed, I would say to avoid it entirely, unless you like the vehicle gameplay, which I personally find a bit basic compared to games like War Thunder. But anyhow, let me know your thoughts, or call me a filthy PC fat at your leisure. Feel free to follow the channel if you like, and till next time, bye bye.